an amazing show. So can you tell me what inspired you to do it?
Oh gosh. Well, I had the great opportunity to even audition for it, so just that in and of itself, it was like, oh gosh, they're bringing it back and I get to even read for it as a possibility. So landing the job was like a shock and a surprise and a no-brainer and just a total honor. So yeah, I still kind of can't believe I get to do it, but so yeah, what inspired me? I mean, I get to, and it's just that's it. It's so fun.
I feel the same way. It was not a tough decision to throw my hat in. I also think, like, with a show like this that's so iconic, and then you look at who's behind it. I mean, just the greatest minds in animation are working on it. So you it's a safe bet. You're like, every episode's going to be good. They're going to keep you away from your worst instincts. It's like, actors talk sometimes about feeling protected in the work that they're doing, and because there's such brilliant people working on this thing. You go into a recording session and you think, I can just let it rip, and they will handle the rest, which is, it's just such a great gig in that respect.
Yeah, I definitely, even as an adult, like, I remember when my kids were little, there were shows that as parents we were stuck watching just because you had to. It was your kid's favorite show. But this was one of the shows that I could watch and actually enjoy because there's so many relatable adult situations. And then also, like, having the multi-generation family with grandpa and just the neighbors. And it was really, really fun to watch. So for both of you, what has been your favorite episode so far in, like, the newer season 1, 2? What has been your favorite episode?
I love the episode when they welcome Dill into the family. I mean, it's such a big moment for the series, and it gets pretty emotional, and but it's also has the kind of trademark hilarity of the rest of the episodes. That just hit all the sweet spots for me. And also, I said in an interview earlier, the last episode of last season, there's this horse Clompers that comes and helps them organize their kitchen. I will not.
No, I love
it. But Clompers is so funny to me that I could watch that episode on a loop. That's it.
I think that, like, I'm re-experiencing it every time you bring it up because it is so funny.
He sings. Clompers sings like a big finale number.
Yeah, I mean, it's really quite genius. As far as season 2, I mean, I think same. When they're going into labor, there's a I won't ruin anything, but there's a moment where things are starting to happen, and I think when I read it and then realized, like, we were going to be really doing this moment, I was like extremely fearful of like it's so fun, and it's like they're having a baby, and they have, like, these pivotal moments that they're going through leading up to it, and to get to do that and realize that, like, through Didi, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and Angela, I don't know if I said this already. I can hear her upstairs screaming now. I have a 1-year-old, and so the recording of season 2 like very closely paralleled my own life. So maybe that's why that the birth episode really hit me. But yeah, it felt very real, including Stu's panic.
I love your enthusiasm and passion. It really shows through in your characters. Is there some type of technique that you use to help you to get into character?
No, No, that's not real. I think I always have that intention, or I want that. Like before I go record, I'll always have some nerves, like, oh, how am I going to really bring it today? Or what can I? And then I get there, and really, our director, Charlie Adler, Kate, our producer, everybody, it's just really about just like bringing yourself. That's really what we're doing. And then all my fears are eased because it's just about really leaning in and going for it and having fun. And like the more uncontrolled you are, the better. And yeah, there's no real technique. I think the more I just lean into what's on the page and to my own instincts, that's the best way to go for me.
That's a perfect answer. I think when it's been a couple weeks since the last recording, because I exist on a lower plane than Stu does day to day, I kind of know that as long as these are guys, like I said earlier, that you can really trust, and it takes me about 5 minutes of just kind of Charlie's very good at kind of winding you up to the energy level that you need to be at for the Rugrats plane of existence. And so so I know that the first 5 minutes I'm going to kind of trip over myself, and then I'll slip back in that mode of making some bigger choices, being a little wilder and crazier and more anxious or whatever it is, and then you kind of find that sweet spot, which is a term I keep that I'm overusing, and then just ride it to the end of and then it's like surfing, to the end of the recording session. It's just fun. And if you can kind of stay in that energy, it's more something you're experiencing than a technique that you're bringing to it, if that makes sense.
Do you ever get to record and see each other, or are you always separate when you guys?
I'm dying to go back to that. We did a lot of the first chunk of episodes like that, and then obviously pandemic prevented that. But I love seeing these folks and riffing with them and stuff like that. So if I get a vote, which no one wants to hear from me, I would vote that we go back to recording together. I hope I'm not annoying the powers that be, but it's just a blast. I mean, it's just, we're actors, we're crazy. We like to be around each other and goof off. So.
Yeah, me too. I would vote for it too, because you're welcome. When we first started, that's how it was. We all met each other for the first time at the recording of the first episode, and then we were in the room together, and it was just really exciting, and just seeing what everybody individually brings to the character and then getting to actually feed off of that. And it's so fun. So
I would also say the other side of it is that I'd also like to say thank God for this job during that pandemic, because I was so jonesing to get my acting fix that being able to go to my guest room closet and and kick the rust off and do some acting it saved me. So that's a piece of this story too.
Yeah.
You're both artists, so I would imagine that it's part of who you are, and it's something you need. Right. Mm-hmm. So if you could play anyone else in the show, who would it be and why?
I have so much trouble answering this question. I love Chuckie. I could never play any of those babies, like not even close. And I don't know if I'd want to play him as much as I just want to take care of him. I think it'd be really fun if I had the skill set, which I don't. Angelica would be really fun to play. I mean, playing that kind of sass, as Ashley's termed it, would be really fun. She gets some real zingers in the show.
Yeah, she's hilarious. She's amazing. And so, Chuckie, somebody asked a similar question earlier. Chuckie is who comes to mind. But also, Phil and Lil are so hilarious and gross and wonderful and weird that just, I feel like anything that comes out of their mouth is like coming from a deep subconscious weird, like, I bet I ate a worm, like whatever. They're just so funny that would be a really fun headspace to live in. I think not that I could.
Occasionally, I don't know how many people know this. Occasionally, we will there'll be a couple lines here and there. There'll be like a movie within the show or something, and we will be asked to do maybe a different voice or something, kind of as a wink at the audience, and And
cool.
there's some kind of old timey movie at some point. I can't remember the episode where I got to voice, this kind of old timey movie character sort of thing. Like, and I can't even remember what that story was, but really fun when you get that script and they're like, hey, we're going to ask you to do a couple other lines to just kind of fill in some holes in the cast.
Yeah, I played a movie character too, a character it was like an action movie, and she talks really low like this, and everything's really intense.
Yeah,
which is like so different from Didi.
That's very good.
So fun.
I think one was more of one of these sort of square jawed.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
One last question.
Yes.
Can you guys say maybe one of your favorite lines from the show in your voices, Didi and Stu?
Oh.
That's really hard. I need to. The lines come into my head for a day, and then they have to be removed to fill in other lines. I mean, this is one word, but he does it a lot.
I always do. It's the line you asked about technique earlier, and to get my voice like in the register of Didi, because she's a little bit up here from me, I always say to do it, I go, it was a line in the first season, like really early on, and she just goes, Stu, what about the kids? And that's what I use to get back, and it's a cute line.
Thank you guys for having me, and congratulations on the success of the show.
Oh, thank you so much. It was nice to meet you.
Likewise.